The ones who leave because the tax rates go up here are welcome to leave.
Abigail Disney, the heiress to the Disney fortune, was on CNBC's Squawk Box, where she discussed how she should be taxed more. Now, before I play this clip, I want you to not only pay attention to Abigail Disney, but also pay attention to the questions that the host here, Andrew Ross Sorkin, asks. Watch.
We are creating a two-tiered society, which we should fear.
What do you make of the argument that that we're in a much more mobile world than ever before, that if you look at what happened in Connecticut, for example, and people have been fleeing Connecticut, obviously, for other states in the United States, but if you actually raise the federal taxes in a remarkably meaningful way, I mean, to the sort of 70% kinds of numbers you get bandied about,
not me.
people would be on airplanes moving to other countries.
You know, my feeling about that is the ones who leave because the tax rates go up here are welcome to leave. Frankly, we don't want them here because what they don't want to participate in is a society that is structured around fairness. We do not have a society structured around fairness right now, and the proof is in the pudding. Look at the lives of working class people in America. I talk to workers at Disneyland who can't afford their insulin because they're working at minimum wage. This is unacceptable, and I can't sit back and accumulate wealth because I simply, A, inherited it, and B, have the good sense to simply own it.
All right, there is a lot to say here that I almost don't know where to begin. So, Abigail Disney here is, she is recognizing her own privilege. She's recognizing how lucky she is to be born into a family where she gets to inherit all of this money and she is barely taxed at all on it. Meanwhile, as she says, there are people working at Disneyland who can't even afford insulin. So she understands how broken the system is, how, yes, there needs to be a society structured around fairness, because how does it make any sense that somebody can inherit all this money that they did not work for? Meanwhile, you have people that are homeless or can't afford healthcare. So she understands this. On the other side of that, you have Andrew Ross Sorkin, who is also the financial columnist for the New York Times, making the argument for the billionaires. So his argument is an argument that has been devised by the wealthy to push back against the idea that we should raise taxes on the wealthy. Now, look, you can say he's playing the devil's advocate here, and I get it. A lot of journalists do this. But what this does is it perpetuates an argument that is not legitimate. So this is my issue with playing the devil's advocate. I have another video out as well. So there's a video that for some reason blew up, but I shot it over the summer on Cuomo interviewing Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And I went after Cuomo because he asks AOC, how do you possibly pay for Medicare for all? Now, yes, in the video, he is playing devil's advocate. I understand that, as Andrew Ross Sorkin is here. But my problem here is that it perpetuates an argument that is not legitimate. This is not a legitimate argument. They are simply playing the neutral game. Instead of looking at these issues objectively and playing the role of a journalist speaking for the people, journalists should be speaking truth to power. That's why they are here. They should not be making arguments for the wealthy. So when you have Andrew Ross Sorkin or Andrew Cuomo talking to AOC about this, and they are perpetuating arguments made by the billionaire class, no, that is not, I don't care if you're setting them up. I don't care if you're playing devil's advocate. You are perpetuating a bullshit argument that will continue to be used by other journalists. It is complete crap. You need to be speaking truth to power at all times. Like when he brought up the 70% tax rate that it appears Abigail Disney is not for, even though she's for higher taxes, I guess 70% is too high for her. On that issue, instead of him bringing it up in the guise of, or in the argument of a pro-wealthy argument, he should have brought 70% up and saying, okay, well, why do you disagree with that? You're for higher taxes on the wealthy. Why do you think 70% is too much? But he didn't do that. He instead made the argument that, all these millionaires and billionaires are going to leave the country if we raise taxes. Thank God, at least Abigail pushed back on that point. If you don't want to live in a society that is fair, then get the fuck out of here. There is always going to be, we're always going to have people that are going to have a little more than other people. But when it gets to the extreme, when you have 3 people in America own more wealth than the bottom 50% combined, That is a broken system. There is no devil's advocate. There is no argument on the other side. It is completely broken, and nobody on TV, no journalist should ever be arguing for the other side, for the wealthy in that scenario. You should always be pushing back against the powerful. That is the job of the journalist. And Andrew Ross Sorkin completely missed that here. Meanwhile, Abigail Disney was essentially speaking truth to power, being herself.